Welcome back. Going to take you to Costa Rica now, where an increasing number of criminals are committing robberies using toy guns.
They're not exactly your typical plastic toy guns. They actually look frighteningly real, hundreds of them being confiscated from suspects. Our own Rafael Romo has the story.
They're made of metal like real guns. They look like real guns. And they can be just as scary when pointed at you. It's a puzzling new trend in Costa Rica.
We have noticed that criminals have been robbing people with these kind of weapons. They use toy guns to intimidate their victims.
Police in the Central American country have confiscated replicas of AK-47 assault rifles and police-issue handguns. Authorities have destroyed 487 toy guns seized this year. Officials say toy guns are used in about 30% of all armed robberies in Costa Rica.
It's a statistic that shows us what we're dealing with. Although from a practical point of view, it doesn't tell us anything. You can't risk your life wondering whether the weapon you're being robbed with is real or not.
Costa Rica is not the only country in the world where toy guns have become problematic. Two 11-year-olds got in trouble with the law in the U.S. for allegedly robbing an 8-year-old boy of his cell phone. Police in Michigan say the older boys were using a pellet gun that looks just like a rifle that shoots actual bullets. In Connecticut, lawmakers are working on a bill that would make it illegal to remove the bright red plug in the barrel of a toy gun to make it look more realistic.
If we see somebody standing like this pointing the gun, or standing like this pointing the gun, what's the difference? This is a Sig Sauer P245 45 caliber handgun. This is the handgun that I carry. This is a real handgun. This is a toy. It's not a big difference.
After the massacre in Newtown, Connecticut, a woman in Australia gave her children money to throw out their toy guns, which included replicas of assault rifles.
So they brought them out, and I thought, well, I'll offer them a buyback. I'll give you $5 each for each of them. And my little guy, he was totally all over it. He's saving for an iPod. He's keen as mustard.
Back in Costa Rica, these merchants say, from a victim's perspective, it doesn't make any difference if the gun is real or not. In a real-life scenario, she says, this care is going to be just the same.
So Rafael Romo joins us. Rafael, we were talking about all this during the break, but a million questions for you. First of all, so why are they making these very realistic-looking toy guns? Is there a real market for this? I mean, who's seeking out these really
There is a lot of demand. There's a lot of people who, instead of having the real thing, which is a lot more dangerous and expensive, would rather have a pellet gun that looks exactly the same as the real thing and can scare people away just the same way as we have seen in Costa Rica. People, when they get robbed, have no time, and if you add to that the surprise factor, have really no time of finding out whether the gun is real or not. And let's face it, in a situation like that, nobody is really going to ask whether the gun is real or not.
Right.
How did they find out about this? Was there something that happened that triggered the knowledge, if you like?
Police in Costa Rica started targeting areas where they had a larger than usual number of robberies. And the surprising thing was that some of the suspects had toy guns with them. And the authorities started wondering whether this was an anomaly or not. And then over the months, it was more and more and more. So that told authorities that they were dealing with a trend and not just an isolated event.
Is it a way of getting around the law, or they still get charged with armed robbery, whether it's a toy or not?
They still get in trouble.
Right.
It's still a robbery, is still something that they're going to spend time in jail with if convicted.
Good to see you, Rafi.
Thank you, Ralph. Under the cover of night, parts of the historic Berlin Wall